Rocko's Modern Life.
Gas! I will not stress enough how much Rocko's Modern Life was gas, bro.
The first new Nicktoon of the decade was
Planet Sheen. This thing was trash. I don't care. I'ma say it. They saw the blueprint Adventure Time laid out and everybody wanted to copy it. I'm sorry. I'm saying it. It must be said. Yeah, nah. No.
And then Pig, Goat, Banana, and Cricket released, and you were right back into the mud.
Yeah, nah, them Hollywood execs put down the coke and they picked up them Yerkies, bro. Cause what is this? What am I looking? This is a banana?
Racist against rappers, they all look the same to him. They used to beg him not to egg him on Halloween. He told him holler back with the suede Pumas, Dollar Green. Nah, I mean, heat it up till the temperature tarball. Y'all just gawk like gargoyle.
That's crazy. I started the recording with the mic unplugged, bro. Anyway, I already know this is about to be a yap session, bro. Cause look, cartoons used to run my life as a kid, right? So today we got this video, the worst era in Nickelodeon. And let me just say this, man. So when people talk about like networks that had like terrible eras and stuff, you know, a lot of people, they instantly think of Cartoon Network when they were doing the C and Real stuff. Like they were rolling out all the live action shows, you know, on a network called Cartoon Network, you know, like, yeah, sure, let's put some live action on a Cartoon Network. That's crazy. I feel like what a lot of people glaze over is the fact that Nickelodeon went on a certified generational run of straight mid. Like, oh my god. Like, look at these three right here. You got Breadwinners, Sanjay and Craig, and then I think his name is Budson the Beast. Not entirely sure. It's not just the fact that not only did they greenlight these mid shows, they were scrapping the good shows. Like Harvey Beaks. Why did Harvey Beaks get canceled, bro? That show was gas. That show was actually gas. Real ones watch Nicktoons. That's where you got the legendary cartoons. That's where you can get your Danny Phantoms, your Cat Dogs, your Invader Zims. Real talk, bro. Real talk. All right, let's go. Worst era of Nickelodeon.
Nickelodeon has been loved by all ages for decades. Since releasing the first three Nicktoons in the early 90s, Nickelodeon has become known as a predominantly cartoon channel. The 90s are revered as the golden age of cartoons, then the 2000s being a noteworthy successor that definitely started to fall.
Oh, Jesus, fanboy. Yo, this show used to piss me off as a kid, bro, because they were just so ugly. Like, God,
as time went on. The next era, being the 2010s, is arguably the worst era, and I am here to tell you why. First, a little bit of backstory.
Okay. The 90s. Okay, golden era, bro. Real talk.
In the early 90s, they introduced Doug, Rugrats, and the Ren and Stimpy show.
All three fire. Ren and Stimpy was wild. It should have never been a kid show. That's all I'm gonna say.
These three would become the first Nicktoons. They proved to be very popular, thus Nickelodeon choosing a cartoon-oriented path. Rocko's Modern Life,
Gas! I will not stress enough how much Rocko's Modern Life was gas, bro.
Dog, Angry Beavers.
The best. Okay, real talk.
Choosing a cartoon-oriented.
I'm gonna keep pausing, bro, because look, this is literally my childhood that we're talking about.
Path.
Okay.
Rocko's Modern Life.
Absolutely gas. Like, this is easily a top 5.
Life. Cat. Dog.
Gas.
Dog, Angry Beaver.
Favorite show. This is one of my favorite shows. Real talk. Next to SpongeBob, Angry Beavers is my favorite cartoon to come out of Nicktoons, period. Like, period, bro. This show is so fire, bro. It's so slept on.
Our Real Monsters, Hey Arnold, and the Wild Thornberries were soon to follow.
Real talk, I didn't really like the Wild Thornberries that much, but I did like that little crossover special they had with the Rugrats. I thought that was fire.
All these cartoons were very successful and still remain icons today. They were original and...
I can hear the Angry Beavers theme song in my head. Okay, let me stop talking over this guy.
All these cartoons were very successful and still remain icons today. They were original and wacky, and had humor that hadn't been seen in cartoons before.
Yeah.
These cartoons made up the 90s, and is now known as the Golden Era. The next era was the SpongeBob era.
Okay, no hate though, but like, let's be honest, there's a reason why SpongeBob was running this era, okay? The first 5 seasons of SpongeBob, not a single skip. Not a single skip, bro. Real talk. You could play every SpongeBob episode back to back for the first 5 seasons. Not a single episode to skip.
SpongeBob was and still is their cash cow. So, a lot of their focus went to SpongeBob. The entirety of the 2000s was plastered with the yellow square.
They honestly have milked SpongeBob dry, and I'm one of those people who believe that SpongeBob should have ended after the movie. The movie was like the perfect bow on top of the whole SpongeBob series, but I understand it was way too much money to just let go, but damn, you know what I mean?
Even with SpongeBob's success, there were a handful of cartoons that came out around this time that were still very good.
Like, I love this. I love that episode. Fairly Odd Parents. The early, once again, and I'm pretty sure he's going to touch on this. The early seasons, gas.
Fairly Odd Parents, Jimmy Neutron,
Gas.
Danny Phantom,
Gas.
Invader Zim, My Life as a Teenage Robot, Avatar, and Chalk Zone.
Not a single miss, and niggas do not know about Chalk Zone. Chalk Zone is some legendary. If you know Chalk Zone, bro, you really a real one for real. That was damn near repetitive, but we got
The first half of the 2000s was basically a sequel to the 90s. Original cartoons, unique concepts and adventures, and very enjoyable to watch.
Oh, and one of my one of my biggest pet peeves about cartoons nowadays is that they're scared to show action. You know, these shows back, I about said animes, these cartoons back in the day, bro. If a nigga was gonna get his ass whooped, he would get his ass whooped on camera. Like, you got to see all of it. You know what I'm saying? There was plenty of action and stuff. Like, come on, dude. Like, nowadays, like, I'm pretty sure there's cartoons out there that have good action and stuff. I just don't really care to check out the newer cartoons. But back in the day, trust, bro, these cartoons were elite. Okay?
Original cartoons, unique concepts and adventures, and very enjoyable to watch.
The Jimmy Timmy Power Hour was also legendary, by the way.
The second half of the 2000s is
Attack and the Power of Juju. I didn't like this one because everybody was barefoot, and I just hate seeing feet all the time. But I see why people liked it.
where the decline began, but had not fully hit rock bottom. The shows they were making didn't necessarily drop in quality, but a lack in promotion and opportunity led them to fail.
Yeah.
These shows were for the most part overshadowed by their more successful cousins like SpongeBob and Fairly Odd Parents.
Real talk, what Nickelodeon used to do, and this kind of messed up how they did these shows. If the shows weren't popular enough, they would just not air them on Nickelodeon anymore and just air them on the sister channel, Nicktoons. And unfortunately, like, if you had basic cable, you weren't getting Nicktoons. You had to get the advanced stuff to get Nicktoons. You know, because I remember seeing Attack and the Power of Juju on Nicktoons. I never saw it get aired on regular Nickelodeon.
These shows were Attack and the Power of Juju, El Tigre,
El Tigre was absolutely gas. I don't know what they were thinking, bro.
The Mighty Bee,
Okay.
Cat Scratch,
Cat Scratch was also good.
The X's,
Oh yeah, the X's. Oh my god, you gotta stop. You're gonna back in the Barnyard Elite. I don't know why this show didn't do that good, bro.
and Back at the Barnyard. Nickelodeon didn't really seem to give these shows a chance.
They for real, bro. El Tigre was a really good concept, bro. You have a superhero father and a super villain grandfather, and he has to, and you know, he's going through the struggle of picking of whether or not he wants to be good or evil and stuff. Like, that's a cool concept, bro.
And really only promoted the big shows that they knew would perform well.
Yeah.
In the last year of the 2000s, a show would be released that I think truly begins the descent into the worst era. Fanboy and Chum Chum.
Jesus Christ, bro. Oh my goodness, yeah. I ain't gonna lie, whenever Fanboy and Chum Chum dropped, like, this is when I had started watching more YouTube, and I started watching YouTubers that would talk about cartoons, bro. Everybody, and I mean everybody, hated this show. Oh my god. You know, I watched a couple episodes and I wasn't mad at it, but it was like, would I purposely go to the channel to watch it? No, not really. And Nicktoons used to play this back to back. That's where it really messed up.
I know this dead horse has been beaten so much it's just pulp now.
Yeah.
It's trendy to hate on this show.
literally, bro. What? Oh my god, that and the Powerpuff Girls reboot and Teen Titans Go. Jesus, there was no corner anywhere where they were talking about media. Like, if they talked about shows, bro, this show was getting shit on.
And that's not what I'm here to do. I'm simply bringing up the point that this show relied heavily on poop humor. I'm not criticizing it, but it does set in motion a domino effect of terrible humor.
Look at this
I am
animation, bro. This shit is horrible.
now going to give an overview of all the Nicktoons during this decade. 17 different Nicktoons premiered in this decade, compared to
Jesus.
11 in the 90s and 17 in the 2000s. For the
You see that? Oh my god. What is this?
sake of the argument, I'm going to only go over actual Nicktoons, not every single animated show that aired this decade. So, for shows like Rabbids Invasion,
Oh.
that most certainly helps my argument,
Yeah.
will not be talked about, as it
Good, bro. I'll be real with you, man. I like the games. I could never stand none of the Rabbit shows, bro. Like, these niggas annoy the hell out of me. His eyes are way too far apart.
is not categorized as a Nicktoon.
Good.
The first new Nicktoon of the decade was
Planet Sheen. This thing was trash. Yo, I was so mad at this show because it didn't hit right. You know, Sheen is a really good character, but Sheen didn't need to be a main character, bro, because he gets annoying after like a good 10 minutes of just nothing but Sheen. Like, yeah, nah, please shut up.
Planet Sheen, a super unnecessary spin-off to Jimmy Neutron. This spin-off was not well liked.
No.
Making side characters the main characters is usually a poor decision unless you're Saul Goodman. Sheen became overly annoying.
That's what I literally, bro. Literally, I remember I watched the premiere of this because that's how much I love Jimmy Neutron, bro. I was pissed when I saw this. I said, I even told my cousin, because my cousin asked me, he was like, "It didn't Planet Sheen drop? Like, was that any good?" I said, "Nah, bro, don't even watch it."
The plots were too bizarre, in a bad way, and visually, the show wasn't the best thing Nick had to offer.
Exactly.
Going back to the humor, it was definitely different. It wasn't
It looked honestly, Planet Sheen kind of looked worse than Jimmy Neutron.
like Jimmy Neutron. It was reminiscent of Fanboy and Chum Chum. The ratings gave validity to these claims, and Nickelodeon canceled the show after one season.
Good.
The next Nicktoon was
Tough Puppy. Oh my god, yo.
Puppy. Being that it was created by Butch Hartman, the same guy that did Fairly Odd Parents and Danny Phantom, it couldn't have been all bad, right? Well, it wasn't, but you could definitely tell the shows were losing soul. I don't know how else to describe it than that.
Like, I love Jerry Springer, but like, honestly, Dudley, I could watch one episode like a day. Like, if I couldn't watch more than one episode of Tough Puppy in one day, in one sitting. I couldn't do it.
I get that I'm here to articulate my point with words, but this show feels like you took Fairly Odd Parents, drained the soul from it, and slapped on a spy theme. The next two shows are Winx Club and The Legend of Korra.
Okay, Legend of Korra was straight. It didn't live up to the hype of Avatar. Like, I know that's gonna get some pushback, but it didn't. Okay, it just didn't. It didn't live up to the hype of Avatar. But I thought it did. I thought it did a couple things well. Never watched Winx Club. Not gonna lie, I was a little boy. I was like, this look like it's for girls. I'm not gonna watch it.
They do not fit into the category of terrible. They are the very few diamonds in the rough of this decade.
You know what? I should. Monster and Robot was. I don't even understand this one. I didn't even watch it because it just looked goofy. Like, Nicktoons was obsessed with trying to do the buddy comedies. Like, yeah, nah, bro. You don't need to keep doing it. Like, you're gonna see that with Sanjay and Craig too. Like, come on now. Yeah, I never watched Winx Club because I thought it was for girls. So,
Not fit into the category of terrible. They are the very few diamonds in the rough of this decade. Robot and Monster is the next show, and it just brings more of the same. The show feels very empty, content-wise and visually. The humor this time isn't so much farting, but beating each other up and name-calling. There's nothing wrong with that humor, as it's probably the most common type of humor. But to have every joke based on it gets boring very fast.
yeah, that don't look interesting. Gas! Gas, absolutely gas. Don't you dare disrespect 2012 TMNT. Don't you do it.
2012 TMNT is an all-around fine show. It gets the job done. I don't have any strong opinions on it.
I have plenty of strong opinions on it. I would argue it's got the best TMNT intro ever. Here we go with Sanjay and Craig. Okay, look. Before he even says anything, let me tell you how people feel about this. Sanjay and Craig, people look back fondly on certain clips of Sanjay and Craig, but real talk, the show itself, it wasn't really doing much for me.
Sanjay and Craig are guilty of being one of the worst on the network. I could make the argument that it is worse than Fanboy and Chum Chum. It's probably not, but
Yeah, I'm about to say, you're hold on now. Wait a minute. I wouldn't go that far. But no, Sanjay and Craig, like, I personally didn't hate it, but at the same time, bro, it just didn't appeal to me. Like, I watched one episode, and then I heard they had an episode with Snoop Dogg, and I watched that one, and that was about it. Like, I don't have, like he said with the other one, like he said with TMNT, I don't have a strong opinion about Sanjay and Craig.
it's very close. It relies only on fart humor. It's like you took
Fart humor is crazy.
the worst quality out of all the popular shows at the time and put it into one to make this show. It is just another show where a human and a non-human best friend duo go on really wacky adventures.
I don't care. I'm going to say it. They saw the blueprint Adventure Time laid out and everybody wanted to copy it. I'm sorry. I'm saying it. It must be said. Niggas saw how great Adventure Time was and they wanted to copy it. It's okay. We can all just agree, right? We can just agree with that. Okay, continue.
Another thing this show has in common with all of the others that come after it is its
this
hyperactivity. Fanboy and Chum Chum had it along with Tough Puppy, but it is right in your face with this show. Surely this show is as bad as it gets.
And the animation just, like, it don't appeal to me at all. Yeah, nah. No. Yeah, Breadwinners is crazy. I'm not gonna lie. This is the show that made me stop checking in on Nicktoons, on Nickelodeon altogether. For real, bro. Because they had this playing, and then they canceled Harvey Beaks. Like, how do you do that? Like, come on. You could tell from this screenshot alone, bro. All this is just butt jokes, bro. Sway, and Badooz going wacky adventures with their tushies. Like, come on, bro. I don't care. They don't even look like ducks. They look like aliens with big cheeks. Like, what are we doing? Like, relax.
Nickelodeon really said, let's take Sanjay and Craig and make it 100 times worse. This show...
The animation was horrible, bro. I remember it was so... This is how deep I was into everything, right? I remember this show was so bad that Nickelodeon was starting to copyright strike people who had criticized the show because they would play the intro song and just copyright the entire video, bro. I was like, dang.
is complete brain rot humor. If you can even call it humor.
Look at the animation, bro. Like, come on.
This show is complete brain rot humor.
They piss me off because they try their best to, like, look at first of all, what the hell is going on right here, bro? Like, why did you have to do that? You didn't have to draw his butt right here. And they absolutely, like, they on purpose drew this thing as ugly as they could, bro. Like, this thing looked like the concept art, and they just put that straight into the machine. You know, like, come on, man.
If you can even call it humor. There are no real stories for episodes, just recycled junk you have seen before. Annoying characters. So much stuff to do with butts. It is absolutely unreal how this was created, and then continued to be created. Look on the bright side. Breadwinners is the worst this decade gets.
Yeah.
Harvey Beaks was a breath of fresh air.
Exactly. And then it got canceled. This is what I'm talking about.
And then Pig, Goat, Banana, and Cricket released, and you were right back into the mud.
I've never seen this before in my life. Like, I've actually never seen this.
More hyperactive, over-exaggerated animation slop.
What did you say it was? Pig, Goat, Banana, Cricket?
Right was a breath of fresh air. And then Pig, Goat, Banana, and Cricket released, and you were right back into the mud. More...
Yeah, nah, them Hollywood execs put down the coke and they picked up them yerkies, bro. Because what is this?
Hyperactive, over-exaggerated...
What am I looking... This is a banana? What are you talking about?
Rated animation slop. The Loud House is next, and...
I never liked The Loud House, not gonna lie. I know it's well-liked. I know it's well-received. I know it's one of the more popular shows. I just didn't care about it, bro. Like, I think once I seen Breadwinners, I started to just kind of check out. Like, most of the shows that came out afterwards, I probably just didn't even check out.
And as it is still running to this day, it has proven to be a much better show than the others. Even though I would argue the fart jokes and hyperactivity is definitely still present. Bunsen is a Beast, the fourth show argue the fart jokes and hyperactivity is definitely still present. Bunsen is a Beast, the fourth show by Butch Hartman, proved that it was more
This is Butch Hartman?
of what this decade has churned out. Yet again, a buddy duo where one is non-human and they go on way too wacky of adventures. Welcome to Wayne. It seems better than most. I can't give any personal anecdote as I've
never seen this.
never seen this one.
Okay, yeah.
Online, the most common criticism is that it is a Gravity Falls ripoff.
I can see that.
2 days after Welcome to Wayne aired, Fairly Odd Parents was canceled. This now left SpongeBob and, well, nothing else really.
Yeah, the original Nicktoons. Yeah, this is from, what is this screenshot from? This is from, is it Globs of Doom? This might be from Globs of Doom or from Attack of the Toy Bots. I know my Nickelodeon lore. Like, come on now.
At this point, no show besides SpongeBob had been airing for longer than a year or so, and their cash cow
What?
SpongeBob was getting worse.
Yeah, because look at that. Because what happened, and bro,
Besides SpongeBob,
I will die on this hill, man. What happened with SpongeBob is that they saw how popular the SpongeBob memes were getting, and they absolutely started to run wild with them.
had been airing for longer than a year or so, and their cash
Like, what is this frame, bro?
cow SpongeBob was getting worse and worse. Hang on, let me talk about that in a second. Let's finish off this decade. There are 4 Nicktoons left of the decade.
Okay. This one, Rise of the TMNT, this one is gas, but when it got released, people hated it just because they changed the design of the turtles.
Let me talk about
But nowadays, people look back on it fondly and they realize, okay, we were kind of hating on this. This one was gas.
that in a second. Let's finish off this decade. There are 4
Like, niggas didn't even give this a chance. I don't know what that one is. That one, that Henry Danger, yeah, I didn't watch either. None of these. I watched this one, though.
Nicktoons left of the decade. Only one of them still falls into the hyperactive poop humor category. The other 3 are reboots or spin-offs. This is the exact trend repeating itself. Let me explain. At the end of the 2000s, Fanboy and Chum Chum introduced the poop humor, and it continued
Wow, they left a scar on humanity.
all throughout the decade. Now these 3 shows, The Adventures of Kid Danger, Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and the Casa Grandes are all spin-offs and reboots. Now look at the 2020s so far.
Jesus. Yeah. Camp Coral, the Patrick Star Show. I actually heard this one isn't that bad. Believe it or not. I heard this one isn't that bad. I'm not going to check it out, but that's what I've heard. These other 3, that's crazy.
Almost 70% of the shows in the decade thus far are spin-offs, reboots, and licensed shows.
Crazy.
It seems as if at the end of the decade they introduce shows that are indicative of what is to come in the following decade.
Yeah, plus they keep on doing the reboots and the spin-offs because Nickelodeon is so cutthroat. If your show isn't immediately a cash cow, super successful, it gets cut and sent to Nicktoons. Like every time. Oh, Brett, this is gonna be hard for
now
me
the
to watch.
decline of SpongeBob. It's been talked about endlessly. They say it got bad after the first movie, whatever. I'm not here to dispute anything. I'm here to say
I wouldn't say it got bad after the first movie. Real talk, like if we're being super generous, like I say all the way up until about season 6 or 7, around that time. Like I think the last time I watched a new episode of SpongeBob when it was airing out on TV is that episode when they were like, when Patrick and SpongeBob were doing the sandcastles and like they were actually flying and shooting each other. Like that's cool. You go past that, you're in Chernobyl. Like it's unrecognizable.
at this point SpongeBob was arguably just bad. Look up the worst episodes of SpongeBob. No, I'll do it for you. The consensus is that A Pal for Gary is the worst.
Actually, yeah, I didn't like this one because Fluffy pissed me off.
SpongeBob gets a new pet, and it tries to eat Gary.
And then SpongeBob just doesn't recognize that his pet is in danger.
Literally rewrite SpongeBob to be dumber than usual to make the story work. Another terrible episode is One Course Meal, the episode where Mr. Krabs tortures and abuses Plankton, which is pretty out of character for Mr. Krabs.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that episode. Yeah, that was a weird one.
That's my point with this. These episodes came out in 2010. Most of the worst episodes came out in this decade. So not only were their new shows bad, but their legacy shows were too. Another point is the oversaturation of live-action shows.
Yeah.
29 live-action shows premiered in this decade.
Jesus.
But that's not all. There were other shows that didn't premiere in the 2010s, but were still airing new episodes, making the total 33.
What? Okay, let's see. How many of these do I know? iCarly, Gas, True Jackson VP. I heard it, never watched it. The Troop, heard of it, never watched it. Big Time Rush, Gas. Victoria's, Gas. Don't know, Ass. Didn't watch, Ass. Didn't watch. Didn't watch. The Haunted Hathaways, I heard of, didn't watch. The Thundermans, I heard that's good, didn't watch. Every Which Way, nope. Henry Danger, nope. Nicky Reed, nope. Max Red, nope. Then nope. Game Shakers, I know niggas hated Game Shakers. That's all I know about it. Game Shakers. Nope. School of Rock, Gas. Nope. Are You Afraid of the Dark reboot? I didn't even know they did that.
That's a lot of shows. Some of them aren't that bad. I mean, they're sitcoms with children lead actors.
Yeah.
They can't be that good either. But some of them are especially...
This was crazy work, bro. This and the angry orange, not angry, the annoying orange TV show on Cartoon Network, bro. Crazy work. Crazy work.
Actually heinous. Fred the Show.
Yeah.
I can't fairly talk ill of all these shows because I have close to no knowledge about them.
I did not watch none of these. Sam and Cat, I didn't watch much of.
I only watched cartoons growing up, but all you need to do is look at
Exactly.
the numbers. 33 shows running in a span of 10 years. It has to get watered down.
Yeah.
It has to. I know the animation studio is probably completely separate from the live action studio, with completely different budgets and everything.
What is wrong with this woman? I mean, this little girl. Who drew her like this?
But
She's
I
like a crack baby.
really wish more effort would have been spent on the cartoon side rather than live action. You can clearly tell where Nickelodeon's focus went into this decade, and I believe this is a small contributing factor as to why the cartoons were so bad.
That's why, and I hate to say it, Cartoon Network on top. Once you get past the seeing real stuff, Cartoon Network on top, baby. For real.
Why did they cling to this type of humor? What made them think it was successful and funny? I can't tell you that. The
Yeah.
only reason
They really did have a kid who dressed up like Michael Jackson. I forgot about that. They had a kid that dressed up like Michael Jackson. This dude thought he was a supervillain, and this girl was just crazy. This dude was like the only normal dude in the entire show.
I can hypothesize, and it's a stretch, a long stretch, is for shock value. YouTube was becoming very successful and popular in the early 2010s, and by the mid-2010s was huge.
Yeah.
The network saw this huge shift in viewership, where the kids, instead of watching cartoons, were watching their favorite YouTubers play video games.
Yeah, and I was watching more YouTube because they were dropping such mid.
Or vlogging or what have you. I'm guessing maybe this was their attempt to catch people's eyes and be like, look at us. We have this crazy, wacky, over-exaggerated junk. Look, I know that's not a very good reason, but I'm scraping the bottom of the barrel. I
The hell? I really didn't recognize this as Breadwinners at first.
can't think of any other reason why any executive
Oh, hell no. Yeah, delete this.
in their right
How do you delete somebody else's show?
mind would approve the poop humor. Not much has changed into the 2020s. The poop humor shows are definitely decreasing in quantity. However,
Yeah.
they are just being replaced with reboots, spin-offs, and other licensed IPs. We're definitely in
Nickelodeon had
a
Transformers.
reboot era right now.
Wasn't Transformers on Cartoon Network at one point? Or am I tripping? I could have sworn Transformers was Cartoon Network.
Everyone is doing it.
This ugly ass nigga. I don't even know who this is, and he's pissing me off.
And there aren't tons of unique new movies or shows.
That's Rugrats? Nah. Nah.
It only makes sense that Nickelodeon follows suit. Make
Angelica looks more aggravating.
sure you check out my other videos. I have quite a few about Nickelodeon and other cartoons. If you could please subscribe. I'm literally so close to 1,000 subscribers, and you hitting that button will help me greatly.
1,000? Gang. This had 2 million views. you're good. But I'm still gonna subscribe anyway because I love the cartoon nerd stuff. Yeah, this is probably gonna be the nerdiest video I react to. I don't even know if I'm gonna put this on the Kenzino channel, honestly. Like, this is, yeah. Nickelodeon had an insane downfall. I'm telling you, once they dropped Brand Winners, bro, I was kind of checked out. I was still watching Cartoon Network, but Cartoon Network did that seeing real shit. Boy, that's why I always went to YouTube. I was watching Minecrafters, and then they turned out to be weirdos, but it's okay.